YouTube or Facebook, wherever. So, because she can't make the class today.
Guess what? You are live on YouTube and you're good to go now. It's all
Gotcha.
you.
So excited. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. You're very comfortable in this venue. I am not. So this is not about me, though. This is about you guys. And if there is one takeaway from this class, it's never about you. It's it's always about somebody else. It's about the client. It's about the buyer, the seller. It's not about you. Okay, so I'm going to remember that, and I want you to remember that. Before we dive into our class and the daily 10-4 and all that good stuff, I wanted to read something to you because I know by now it's session 11 and you're overwhelmed with information. You're really not out there yet doing it. And everybody's come to you with a million ideas. You look at Facebook, just sold this, closed in 2 days, all of that good stuff. Oh my God, I don't have my database, all that. So I want to read this to you because my coach gave this to me years ago when I was so very impatient with myself. New York is 3 hours ahead of California, but it does not make California slow. Someone graduated at age 22, but waited 5 years before securing a good job. Someone became CEO at 25 and died at 50, while another became a CEO at 50 and lived 90 years. Someone is still single while someone else got married. Obama retires at 55, but Trump starts at 70. Absolutely everyone in this world works based on their own time zone. People around you might seem to go ahead of you. Some might seem to be behind you, but everyone is running their own race in their own time. Don't envy them or mock them. They are in their time zone and you are in yours. Life is about waiting for the right moment to act. So relax. You're not late. You're not early. You're very much on your own time zone. Does that sound familiar, Robert?
I'm trying not to laugh.
Why?
I'm reminded of Deborah being in her own time zone at our 10 o'clock meeting. I'm like, hello, it's 10:30. Oh, where are you?
That's why I was 20 minutes early today, sitting here looking at myself. Okay, so Deborah, good morning, everyone.
Where did you pulled that excerpt from?
Where did you pull this excerpt from, Robert? This was yours. You sent
I gave you that. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's great. I used to have that. Yeah, I have no idea, but I'm sure if you Google it, you'll be able to find it.
And I'll tell you why he gave it to me at that time. I was probably 3 years in the business, and I was getting up every morning, not knowing what to do. I was really cranky. And Robert was always trying to, pull me along and get me to understand who I was and where I was going. And some people are 20 and some people are 60. I started late in the game and I was very impatient with myself. So that was my present from him. And I really have kept it on my desk since you gave it to me, Robert. Okay, so.
If you Google everyone is in their own time zone, you'll find it on Google.
Cool. All right, so I think you're probably tired of talking about yourself, why you started in the business, who you are and all of that. If you're not, you want to talk about yourself, let me know. But as far as introductions go, but I do have a question. What made you think that real estate was good business for you? Bernardo, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's a complicated answer for me because I hadn't entered the mind frame of business until really weeks after I got my license. The motive for me was helping my mother and father in their transition, knowing that as they go from the property they have now, that would be one transaction, they'd be buying another property and another property based on the equity they'll have. And so it's really it was to help them, but now I'm seeing that I have actual potential in the industry and that I have a rich database that's going to keep evolving.
Good. Okay. All right. And you feel like that's something that a good decision that that you made so
Yeah.
far?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Keller Williams could say, you know what, we hate this guy. Let's get rid of him. And I'd say that's fine. I learned so much, and I'd look back on the last month very fondly. 'Cause
Okay. Good. Madison, same question for you, hon?
Sure. And that was just why I got into real estate.
Yeah.
I guess when I finished school, I didn't know what I exactly wanted to do, but I knew I enjoyed property and meeting people and like building relationships. And I think real estate just kind of encompassed a lot of interests that I had. And so when I started studying for it, I enjoyed it. I don't know. I never had like a bad day doing it. And I look forward to having a career and in real estate. And that's just kind of how I started.
Good for you. What did you study in school?
So I have my undergrad in landscape architecture, and then I went to law school in San Diego.
Oh, how fun. Good. That landscape architecture could, law school, of course, but oh, good for you.
Can I ask a question,
Yes.
Madison, since we
Sure.
spent the last few weeks together?
Yeah.
What would you say has been the common thread, or through line in terms of your motivation and interests that took you from landscape architecture into law, and as
Mhm.
recently you've had this interest in contracts around real estate?
Sure. Okay, well, my dad is a lawyer, so that was definitely a motivator to go to law school. But after undergrad, I wanted to do environmental law because of my background in landscape architecture. And so I got a concentration in environmental law at Cal West. But I think when I realized for studying for the bar and like after law school and like doing all my internships, I like didn't like the work-life balance. And really being a lawyer these days isn't as lucrative as you think. So I think I was like, do I want to spend the rest of my life or even the next decade like doing this? And it just wasn't anything I was like passionate about. So I just transitioned into real estate because it still has like a lot of those same skills, contracts, negotiating, mediating, like all those things. And so and you can be your own boss and have your own schedule. So it kind of seemed like an easy transition for me. And I think studying for the exam was so similar to like property law and contract law. So it really helped just understanding those concepts.
I see. So it was kind of a seamless expansion of what you were already.
Yeah, exactly. It seemed really easy to transition to.
You're very lucky to be so young and already realize that early on, before you devoted all those years into law. So
Yeah, I think that's what I was realizing. I was like, I don't want to waste, my 20s or 30s, doing something that I don't foresee myself,
yeah, it was a good decision.
doing the rest of my life.
Yeah, good for you. Ada, do you want to? I don't know if you were listening earlier, but we've been just chatting about what was interesting about getting into what made you make the decision to get into real estate.
For me, coming out of the educational field, I just felt it would be interesting into getting something where we're servicing people, we're giving back to our community. So that was my main motivator. And my secretary, when I was a principal, she was a part-time realtor. So we did a lot. We always talked about it and her dealings that were going on. And I was always really interested. Plus, I'm super nosy. I love going into houses and showing houses. I know a lot of people have been talking about they love doing that. I actually do too. I think it's neat. I'm getting a lot of ideas even to reorganize and things to do in my own home. But really, it was going back to being of service to people,
Good. And keep that in mind, because as you do your cold calls or however you decide to market, keep that in mind that you are really doing a service, that you are really helping people, you are problem solving. I know sometimes for some it's a hard concept to remember, but really try to keep that in your heart, what you have right now, the reason why you decided to do this. Because as you go out there and as you feel like, oh, maybe I sound salesy, or, oh, I don't want to call my old friends, or, you know, whatever, remember, keep that in mind that you're coming from service and you want to help.
Aida, it's been particularly affirming working with you and Ignite the last few weeks because we have that shared background as educators.
Oh, good.
And I gotta say, I think one of the brain blasts for me has been seeing that working as an agent is in some way being like a social worker for someone's property related needs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not kind of, sorta. It's the real deal. You are a social worker.
And we bring the knowledge of knowing school systems. Like, I know how to search up a school's rating. I know what the rating means. I can explain all that to a young family and say, this is what it means, especially if they're a family that has a child with special needs. I know how to look up schools, and I know to see, you know, who's more in compliance than another school, who's had a lot of complaints in that regard. So I can help them find that part of their home, you know, search too.
So remember, when you do that, though, you can feed them the information,
right?
Help them how they get there, but remember, don't steer them one way or another. Not okay, right? Mm-hmm. But good that you can do that, and you're a resource for that information.
Right. I know how to guide them to find that information, because a lot of people don't know that it's public information to look up a school's rating and whether their teachers are credentials and the type of credentials they hold and all that.
Good for you.
Is that something you could amplify, I guess, in your brand, Aida?
I'm sure it is. I'm trying to get my friends or my sphere to know me as a realtor versus an educator, because they all come to me already for questions in regards to, you know, if their child is going to need an individual educational plan, or is this school, the teacher's saying this, is this correct? And I want them to do the same thing, but to come to me for real estate questions.
Hey, maybe
so I guess I could kind of advantage.
Maybe you could put that in your tagline somehow.
Yeah, I know. I need to figure that out, huh?
Educator turns realtor, or some kind of something like that.
I brought the smarts to the classroom. Now I could be the smarts to your home buying.
I love it. I think that sounds great. Aaron, your number one reason why getting into real estate?
I don't know if it's a number one, number two, but I've been marketing field for almost 20 something years in entertaining, marketing, and then my background is accounting, so I study accounting and marketing, and then been working in that field. I start doing some flipping stuff. I was living in Chicago, started flipping stuff, bought properties in Wisconsin because it was cheaper, tax was lower, and then didn't have any experience and just want to do something, you know, not work with corporate America anymore. You know, I got tired. I was making probably much more, but yeah, just traveled a lot. I traveled a lot, stayed in, you know, different estate, different hotels, and everything was paid. But you know, you get certain age, you just get tired. You want to just be in your own bed. Yeah. And then I moved here 2 years ago. My son lives in Los Angeles, so I have only family I have in this country is just my son. He lives in Los Angeles. I want to just be closer to him. My goal probably is, I'm not gonna say just I want to save the world. I want to help the people, and I did all of that things before. Now is just save myself. I believe that if you don't have enough muscles, if you want to pick up someone, you're gonna go down with them as well. So I want to build my financial muscles before, you know, I go back again, save the world. You know, first world going to be my own son, you know, and his future probably is the first for me. And then the rest of the people that is around me. I did lots of charity works, lots of stuff. I wrote 2 books, and my goal is to be able to publish those books. And my son always say, "Dad, I want to play your life." I said, "Well, okay, let me just make some money for that first. First things
what kind of books did you write?
Is my life story and my photography. I did photography for almost 25, 28 years. I've been
Oh, cool.
traveling probably more than 30 countries. I was a photojournalist in certain part of my life, and I saw the stuff that you want to see, and saw the stuff that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
So one day, hopefully this real estate agent as much makes money enough to be able to publish those books, will be retired by that time.
Very cool. I've been curious the last couple of Zoom calls we've been on. The logo behind you is
That's
so
my
cool.
design.
That's your design?
Yeah, AV. I had an advertising company 2008. Due to economy, it was 2,000 square feet studio, from logo design to brand marketing, website, to making commercial for TV, to imagine like a big massive trucks coming. I mean, we're wrapping. We had a billboard printers and everything. I lost it 2008 due to economy. Lost everything. So I have a good experience on graphic design, photography. I mean, I've been member of the PPA, that Professional Photographers of America, for years. Now I'm just doing in the side. Even offered, a couple of the coworkers last time. I said, you guys feel free. You want to reach me. I'm not looking for charging anybody like before I was charging, but I want to help you guys out if you need headshots. So yeah, I mean, I've been doing logo design, printing for years and years, marketing, for a long time. So
Very
this gonna
cool.
come handy too. I think will be
Oh,
handy in the real estate business.
absolutely. There's some folks that I was in Ignite with years back, and one gal was a marketer, and it really helped her in her business.
Mhm.
So I think it really will. I just want to say it's great to meet you all, and let's, if it's okay, let's talk about the 10-4, the daily 10-4. Tell me how we did yesterday. Just throw it out there.
I'm not working on a 10-4. I think I might be having a client soon. Currently I'm in referral status, so it's something I would have to transition out of if I work the transaction.
Okay.
And so I'm exploring what that means and what exactly their needs are.
Okay. Well, don't forget, do I remember correctly? Do you have another job full time?
Correct. Yeah, which I've taken time off of, but I get calls every day asking to go back.
Okay. So don't forget, dealing with a client, doing your work. If this is really something you're interested in, don't forget to just plant a couple of seeds every day, because you'll find once you're in contract, everything gets busy and we forget to lead generate. And so we got to remember to lead generate. Okay. So even if it's like a couple of seeds, if it's not a daily 10-4, maybe it's just something. Don't forget that. Okay. Tell me who else. Anything?
I start my Facebook. I didn't have any social media, I think, except LinkedIn. That was pretty good professional. I start my Facebook, Coach Clarissa, and then from 3 months ago that I licensed, I brought my Facebook up to over 3,000 people, sending them messages every day. But I get right now exhausted because the scripts, Ignite, and other stuff is going
Sure.
on.
Yeah.
And I have to get up early. I get up normally 5:36 because time zone, in East Coast is different. And I do stocks in the mornings. So
Okay.
few days a week I have to get up like 6, and then imagine from 6 morning it comes all the way. I get exhausted. I mean, I'm 50 years old. So I'm waiting these classes and everything finish, and I go start doing some, calls and other stuff.
Okay, so do me a favor right now, this minute. Normally, when we're in Ignite together, there's 20 minutes on the phone and troubleshooting. Just do me a favor right now. Everybody take out their phone or whatever and just send somebody a text saying, hey, thinking about you, or hey, just want to say hello, something. Just take a minute to do that if you wouldn't mind.
I'm on the phone. I can see if I can do
All right. And then I won't bother you about this anymore. Because trust me, I've learned the hard way how if we don't, we have to lead generate. no matter what. If we're not doing cold calls or we're not doing cards and reach outs, we should look at property every day to see what's out there. Even if you're just looking at Facebook, you know, really dig in and see where the house is located, see what the price point is. You know, just sold in 2 days. Wow, that's a hot market. Just so you can have that conversation. All right. So I want you to know what your properties are out there as much as you can, and gotta lead generate. No matter what, no matter where you are at in your business. I can't stress that enough after 5.5 years. So if you're not cold calling,
remind me that I was working with the churches, and my pastor was telling me that, you know, no matter what, no matter where you're sitting, even you're sitting in the bar, you have to preach it.
it's true, right? So same thing. My husband is the best. If you want to hang out with my husband and bars open, he would just talk to the wall and say, hey, my wife's in real estate. Hey, babe, you got a card? Hey, has she given you her app yet? You know, so even if you're not cold calling or whatever, you're going to the cleaners, if you're going anywhere, just let people know that you're in real estate. It'll feel funny at first. Trust me, it gets easier as we go. So did we all send a text to somebody? Madison?
Yeah, I did.
Good. Okay, Eddie, you did. Okay. All right. So enough of that good stuff. Tell me how yesterday's class went. What did we learn yesterday?
We went over negotiating, and we talked about some tactics we could use because of the market right now. We did spend a lot of time on like, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, I'm blanking out. But basically, things that you can put in the contract to get your offer accepted.
Okay. So it's about negotiating and all that good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was that overwhelming, everybody, or some good takeaways?
There were some good takeaways, and yeah, it was overwhelming. It took me about halfway through the session to realize that negotiating is not just about numbers and offers, that the negotiating process can begin as soon as you meet the potential agent or other principal.
Good. Okay.
For me, it was the second time. You know, I'm joining the Ignite for second time, because I've been coming to Keller Williams almost 1.5 years, you know, since my schools and, you know, career nights and everything else. So it's getting more, you know, much easier to understand.
Good. And what? Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's getting much easier as much you listen and, you know, you analyze it. You get much easier to understand it.
Yeah. And the more you do, so that's why I read this about being patient with yourself and your time zone. The more you do, the more you learn. I will tell you that every deal is going to be different. You know, having your process down, understanding the technicalities of the contract and the negotiation and the close, all of that good stuff. The process, knowing that is your ace in the hole, but I promise you, every deal is going to be different. So you'll learn as you go. Okay, good. You know what? If I talk too much, and I'm sure people have said this, just stop me or do whatever. I want to try to get through the material. Basically, the class today, of course, is close the deal. And so we've negotiated our deals accepted. I don't think I have to go through the pipeline of how the work gets done. Or do I? Do we need a contract? I guess I will go through contract to close. Yeah, that is my job right now. Okay, so we got our offer accepted. I'm going to go from the accepted standpoint. And first we'll talk about buyer, and then we'll talk about a seller. Okay, so your job as buyer's agent, your job as seller's agent. Let me get to a good place over here.
Debbie, do you have any like a sample to send us or send me that like writing the offer, like how you write your offers, any sample.
Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Do you have my email, or you want me to put my email for you?
Yeah, put your email in the chat again.
You are on my Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
All right, so then don't worry. I believe that's true. Yeah, and no, don't worry. I'll get it to you.
Put for
So
the other guys too if they don't have it.
did in any of the classes, do we go over writing offers?
No.
Maybe
I
with
didn't
Emily.
Was with Emily, right?
Emily, yeah.
Okay, so I'll
Just want to
send,
get better on. I just want to see the like solid how different agent writing offer.
okay, good. And as you list property and you receive offers, you'll see that nobody writes an offer the same. So it's good to talk with Robert and coach, who is ever coaching you. Clarissa, yeah, to make sure they review. I think I said this when Emily's class, make sure that they review your offer and help you make a solid, strong offer.
Because I'm writing offer on the property now. I want to be sure that it's solid.
Okay, I'll send it to you. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna do buyer's hat right now. I don't know how much I'm going to love the PowerPoint thing, but it keeps me on track. So if I don't move it along as quickly as I chat, then let me know. Then I promise I'll get there. All right. So from a buyer's agent, we wrote an offer and it's gotten accepted. But before we do that, in our buyer consultation, we want to set the stage with our buyer that how the process is going to go. We do have, Mark Miller has included a checklist, a transaction checklist in our zip forms, but also you should have it page 18 and page 19 in your guide. There's a buyer agent contract checklist to close, and there's a listing agent's contract to close checklist. You'll modify it as you go, things that are important to you, but in the beginning, these things are really cool. It helps you have a discussion in the beginning with your buyers and your sellers. Probably if you go through this, your presentation will be like an hour and a half. Most times you're going to be dealing with, half the time you'll be dealing with first-time buyers. And even though first-time buyers, they could be first-time sellers too, so reviewing this checklist with them, getting comfortable with it, is pretty good. So then you can have a deeper conversation, shows your professionalism, shows your expertise, and keeps you on track too, as far as where things are in the process. So we get our offer. We're not going to go through rejection. We're going to go through, we're getting our offer accepted. We could have been countered. And, as you know, you'll get a seller counter offer and either come up in terms, either come up in price. Terms being anywhere shorten your contingencies. We need to close in 45 days, not 30, because you didn't have that conversation with the agent. You just put in a 30-day close. Maybe they needed 45, whatever. They can counter you on terms. They can counter you on price. Okay. So, but let's say for right now, we got our offer accepted. Next, what we're going to do from buyer's agent, first thing we're going to do is make sure we order our inspection. Because of our contingency time, our research on our due diligence time, which is 17 days for inspections, all your inspections, your HOA docs, your physical inspections. Let's say the general inspector says, I see termites. You might want to order a termite report. to see if there's termite work that needs to be done. Old house, let's say, you know, the plumber says, the inspector says, hey, I suggest you get a licensed plumber to check out the plumbing. All those kinds of things. And then you'll do a request for repairs on that. All those kinds of things will go within a 17-day period. That's your inspection time. So right away you want to order your inspection. So have you guys yet thought about looking at reviews of inspectors, you know, through our Facebook page or anything like that? Okay. No big deal as far as doing that now, but there are inspectors that are very in depth. There are inspectors that do like a condo, a short go around. Everybody's going to do their job. You're going to hire a licensed inspector, but that's your choice to give your buyers like 2 or 3 inspectors to choose from. Some will research them, some will take the top, some say, I don't know, let's just pick one. Price is usually the same. It's usually an average of $450 for under 2,000 square feet, $475, somewhere in through there. But let them choose the inspector. This way it takes liability off of you. Okay, and they get to ask, depending on how seasoned they are and savvy to market, they get to ask their questions of what they want in an inspection, especially if it's like an old historic home or a small little condo. There's a pool. They don't inspect pools, but they'll refer somebody to you. So let them do that work, takes the liability off of you, and puts them more in the game.
I have a question.
Yes.
So back to the social worker thing we were talking about. Say your client's in a position because they're a first-time buyer, where they don't know how to pick an inspector, what to go off of, and then what questions to ask and what to look for. That's
fair. You could, first of all, price. Okay. Turnaround time. What's your experience? Can I see your website? Do you have reviews? I think those would be the most important things. The buyer will be there through the whole inspection period, and so too will you. And if you notice that your buyer is not really asking too many questions, and like everybody else, inspectors have different personalities. Some are very verbal and tell you everything. Some not so much. So you could be there to ask specific questions if there's not too much dialogue. So the inspection takes place. He walks around. He'll cite things along the way, and then he'll be finished. And then he'll take you and your buyers throughout the home again and call out the things that he's concerned about. At that time, along the way, ask questions too, but basically it's, how much do you charge? Sorry, getting back to your question. How much do you charge? Do you have any reviews? Can I see your website? And what's the turnaround time on the inspection? Especially important if we've shortened our close time to 21 days, for example. Our lender says, I won't get too deep in the weeds with this, but let's say our lender says we can close in 21 days. We want to be competitive. So that means we want to shorten our contingencies along the way. All right, so maybe instead of 17 days for your inspection, we're going to shorten it to 10. So right there and then, if the buyer says, how long is your turnaround time? I need this really quickly. All right, because so-and-so. So that would be a helpful question to ask. Too much, too little?
No, I think that's great and really helpful. I'm mindful of it because not only is that my approach and lens to things, the social worker mentality, but also anticipating that whomever my clients are, uh, especially if they're folks who are like of my age that I grew up with or went to school with, they're going to be first time buyers and they're going to be relying on me to be the expert.
That's right.
And so I'm reticent to defer that responsibility, even though I know it's a liability issue.
I'll tell you though, it really is a liability issue. And there are stories out there that it comes back on the agent and it comes back on the brokerage. You said, this is your guy, so you can kind of guide them. I use this guy all the time. He's great. Great turnaround. I love his reports, all of that. But it is my responsibility to give you 2 others. You could take that approach. And then that kind of lifts the liability off of you.
I see. And I guess theoretically, if a poor inspection is made, it's going to be on the inspector's fault.
Yes.
Not mine or my clients.
Yes, because you are going to only hire a licensed inspector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that's their responsibility.
I see.
I do have stories about that, but anyway, there's going to be a story. You're going to love it. There's going to be books to be written and stories to be told about every single one of these transactions. I promise you.
One more question about inspections.
Yeah.
And does inspection, maybe I'm thinking ahead, but does inspection come into play at any point for the seller when they're staging the property or preparing before receiving offers?
The inspector? No, but no, not typically. But let's put it this way. Let's say I have an older home, or I did a remodel. Wasn't great. Or I've lived in the house a while. I haven't gotten the roof inspected since I've lived here. I don't see any leaks, or maybe I do see a leak or something happened. I don't know. And maybe you're concerned on how the inspection's going to come out. Typically, you don't. You wait for the buyer to do the inspection, but some people have done inspections first and put that in their documents when they list.
That's what I would think, it's the seller's obligation to note these are the things we see are wrong with our property. Maybe they won't be able to note them all, but they have that responsibility, don't they?
They on the TDS and the SPQ. Sorry about those little letters on the disclosures, the seller's disclosures that they have to fill out when you take the listing. It asks all the questions about what you know about the property. Here's the seller's responsibility. They only know what they know, and they are supposed to disclose what they know. Fair enough?
But they don't have to be so diligent the way the buyer and their inspector has to be to find out everything. They could just be like, we'll figure out what's wrong with it along the way.
Well, if you know it, you have to disclose it.
Yeah.
As a seller, if you know it, you have to disclose it.
Yeah,
but no, they're not going to get underneath the sink. A seller doesn't need to get underneath the sink and see if it's leaking under there. That's the inspector's job from the buy side.
I see. Thank you.
So you'll get a report, an inspection report, and it'll be long and lengthy, and there'll be pictures, and some of the photos look ominous. There's going to be rust in places. There is going to be, you name it, they'll be there. They'll show, leaking or what have you, or they'll tell you, wow, the inspector will say this was a great inspection. And then you get the report and there's red lines everywhere. They'll explain to you there's blue lines and there's red lines, however they decide to write up their report. And, that could be a question from the buyer too. Hey, can you show me a sample of an inspection that you did? Or can you explain to me your inspection reports? Because they're difficult to read. And then an agent gets them, and then that's an interpretation. So the more the buyer understands about the property they're buying with aid from you to read, then you're just a better step along the way. So the inspector and the buyer can chit chat because they paid for their inspection, can chit chat about, hey, listen, I don't understand this, help me with this. But just to not to get too in there, there'll be things that you'll guide and help your buyer ask for a request on. And there'll be like switch plates or baseboards, or, the tub needs to be, siliconed around. Then I, as a buyer's agent, would kind of steer them away from that. Those are cheap fixes, call a handyman, that could be done. But if they're big things, they'll be in big red that the inspector is very concerned about: electrical, plumbing, roof, termite. Those are your big things. HVAC, if they say they have an HVAC, and if they have air conditioning, I would say those are the things that you really want to pay attention to. Foundation, of course. And that's that's when you do put your social worker hat on, and that's when you do try to guide them of what's really important to be concerned about. Remember one thing: they've got to be in love with the property to make the offer. In this market, it's tough. People are saying, I'm so frustrated. This is a 75% house, but I really want to buy a house. Okay. But at some point, they got to be all in, because when it comes down to the request for repairs, remember, as people have said, it's as is, and nobody has to give you, the sellers don't have to give a dime. All right. So buyer needs to prepare to do the work, to ask for some credits, or ask for the work to be done, or say, you know what, that's okay, I'll do it. I don't know if that was helpful.
Yeah, I think it's helpful. So is it fair to conclude, once the offer has been made and accepted, the buyer has gone through so many lengths to come to a reasonable price, that that they should expect to perhaps make more payments based on what they find needs to be resolved on the property?
More payments. Tell
Yeah,
me.
like say there's an issue with electrical, plumbing, roof, termites, HVAC, what have you.
Okay.
That they're gonna be prepared to pay more in order to make that place livable by the time they enter it.
It's an interesting thing, because let's just say you went in $30,000 over your offer, and the electrical panel needs to be upgraded for a couple of $1,000. In that case, I really wouldn't, in this seller's market, you don't want to ask for too much. But if you've gone in 30,000 over on your offer, then I don't think it's a bad thing to go ahead and ask for a $2,000 credit towards upgrading your electrical panel, especially if it's pretty old and the voltage, it's only at 110, it should be at 220. You know what I'm saying? If you came in and your offer was accepted under ask or just at ask, yeah, I'm a little more frugal of what I asked for, or how I guide listen, your clients can say, I want you to ask for every single thing on this list.
I see.
And you can, by the way, you can ask for every single thing on the list. And then the seller's agent will go, no, 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 no. Or, hey, okay, hey, okay, hey, okay.
I see. So there's not a singular norm to go off of. It's basically dependent on really the market you're in and how much you had to compete for that.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Or, I'll give you my clients really came in at over ask. They're at the top of their budget. They've got to deal with that whole backyard. A lot of backyards right now, especially with flip properties, are unfinished. They got to deal with this. They love the house, but can we, these three things need to be addressed. Can we come to a deal on that? Is that helpful?
Yeah, I think so. And at that point, the offer's been accepted, I imagine.
The offer is accepted before you do your inspections.
Okay.
Now, there are some cases, and this is just a far out case. My friend bought a house, in an area that she knew she wanted to live in. It was the only area she had been searching and searching. A house finally came up on the market. She did the inspection before she even made the offer. She got a 24-hour inspection. Turned out there was mold. There was black mold, actually. There was mold. There was so many things wrong with it. But she made an offer contingent upon what she found out. And then she was able to make the deal because they knew it too.
You know, Debbie, even I highly recommend inspection, even if it's as is. Why? Because, for example, if there is a hazard in that house, and you buy the house, let's say for a penny, but you're going to spend, 10 times more than what you paid for, just remove those hazards like asbestos. Like there was a house that we did, I did inspection, just buying as is. So the inside looked perfect. You turn on the light, everything. The house was older. So you're pulling out the outlet, is still, they were using the knobs and tubes on the electrical.
Right.
So that's the 10 grand. Just removing all of the cables, from the ceiling and stuff, because there's a hazard. Even as is, with few $100 inspection, what you are getting in. So I really want to say, you want to buy it as is, but I highly recommend pay a few $100 for inspection, so how much you're going to spend, because this guy going to pull it out.
Absolutely. I would always recommend that we do an inspection, always, no matter if we waive the inspection contingency, no matter what we did, go ahead and remember now. I should have, it didn't have it here, so I'm going to do it now, but it's part of your inspection. So you immediately get the TDS or the SPQ from the seller. I think it's within 5 days contractually. Mark Miller likes that when you make the offer, you pretty much have or will immediately do your inspection, your agent's visual inspection. It's not here on the list, but it is part of your inspections. That means, so you got the seller's information. You as the agent have walked around the house and really done your due diligence as the buyer's agent to look at what you see, not what's under, once again, not the piping, not what's, behind, a big armoire or something, but agent visual inspection, what you see, okay, what you can see. The buyer, you want them to do the same thing too. Buyer says to you, hey, what's that discoloration in the ceiling up there? You make sure that you note that, because it could be a leak. It could be an old leak that was handled, but it could be a current leak. So all of those things. Then you must, in my book, always have an inspection, even if you're waiving the contingency, just like Aaron's saying. Always. And then the inspector has his inspection, and then the secondary, like I said, a roof, termite, or anything that's been called out. So you've helped the buyer along the way understand the process and understand what they're buying. Okay, so important, as you're saying, so important. And you be prepared. Listen, I got an extra 50,000. I got 100,000 extra, but this is the house I really wanted. I got a great deal on it. I'm willing to put the money into it. Fair enough? Okay, so we did our inspections. We negotiated with the seller's agent on our request for repairs, and they said sure, or they said no, and they responded to your request for repairs and said, we'll fix A, B, and C, we won't fix E, F, G. And here's a way you can, in your request for repairs, you'll say, listen, there's a leak under the kitchen sink. HVAC seems old. I want that serviced. This window's not opening well, door jams or something like that. You can either ask for it to be fixed, before close of escrow. Big things usually people do ask to have fixed before close of escrow, or you can ask for a credit. You've done your due diligence. This will cost this much. This is a handyman, $200. HVAC's going to cost me $1,000. You can ask for a dollar amount. So either they repair it or a dollar amount. So seller's agent responds. You get that all worked out. Everything's accepted. You're moving along on your way. Now, by that time, I'm going off of this formula here, if you can see it. So we get.
It's pretty hard to read the algorithm because the size of the font is small, and I think that's a little better.
Okay, cool. And we are so we accepted all of that stuff. And now we find out, so now it's in underwriting. So behind the scenes, the lender that your buyers have chosen are doing their due diligence. They're communicating with your buyers, sidebar from you. And you can check in every now and then, and you can't, here's my philosophy, and I've learned this the hard way. You can't over communicate. You cannot over communicate. You cannot over communicate with the lender. You can't over communicate with escrow or even with title. When you pull a title to see if it's a clean title report, the lender will do that anyway. But I always ask for a preliminary title just so we can see what's on there. But you just can't ask enough questions. So you want to make sure that when the shit hits the fan, if it does, that you're prepared. Okay. And you almost know before it's going to happen. All right. And timeframes are the biggest thing. So your buyer is dealing with giving them all the documents, the lenders all the documents, answering all the questions, all of that stuff. I'm going to go on a very positive plane here that when you're working with your buyer, you know that they've already qualified. Okay. If you put in an offer for a condo, make sure that they qualify, that you communicate with the lender. Listen, we're putting in an offer for $499, and there's an HOA of $200 a month. Or downtown condos, $800 a month, because that really does make a difference of what they can qualify for. All right, so we've done all of that. So when we're in lending, when we're in underwriting, they're just going through the nuts and bolts of their debt to income ratio, all of that good stuff, okay? If the loan they've chosen is the right loan for them, for the product, all of that stuff. So they're doing that while you're working through to get the inspections. Okay, fair enough. Questions on that? Okay. Along with that, escrow has already communicated with your buyers. How do you want to hold title? Just a myriad of things. I can't even tell you everything that they're going to do, but they're the liaison between the lender and your buyer. They make everything flow and go smoothly. Okay. If they need instructions about anything from clients, from lenders, from anybody, they're the ones that are going to put the glue together. So make sure that you choose wisely with your escrow people. I've had some bad times. I'm now using Justin in the office at A Plus Escrow. I've gone out and about, and I think I like working with him. He's very communicative. Most importantly, you want somebody that's going to communicate with. All of these servicers that you choose, make sure if you pick up the phone and call them, there's at least a response back in a short period of time, or an email.
So I have the same question now that I had for choosing an inspector. What should we go off of in choosing folks to handle escrow for us?
You know, I'll tell you, ask other agents. Ask other agents who they're using. Like I just told you, Justin Brown. I like him. He doesn't call me on the weekends sometimes, but he's probably not supposed to. If I want a seller's net sheet or something. And he has kids and he isn't responding to me. Oh my God. But anyway, and then their personalities. Do you jive with them? Because I'm going to tell you that that matters.
I think KW has a good crew because if they use these people as they know that they are thriving, they are doing good jobs. So many of them, like Movement, you said, Mortgage Movement. If I want to talk to somebody, definitely gonna be people from Mortgage Movement. Ed. These people are awesome.
They really are. I believe everybody that we have that are affiliates are a really good group of people.
Very communicative race.
Yeah, and that's what you want. So I would ask other agents. I've gone outside Movement A+ Escrow. I've gone around, and I've come back. And that's you're right, because there are people out there. When we would have our weekly meetings, especially when before COVID, escrow people, title people, not so much escrow, I could say, because of affiliates. We only keep with our own, but there are servicers that come and pitch their services to you, and they want your business. So I go out and about and then come back, and you could, I have a friend, Dan, he's in our office. He uses who we use, and he'll never go away. He uses everybody that the office uses, and that's it. And that works for him. It takes the stress level off of him in that regard. Everybody does a good job, so it's a matter of your preference, of lack of too many words.
Save your time.
Does that make exactly save your time? Because you know what? You're going to find fault with somebody at some point. Nobody is ever perfect. So if you gain that trust of communication, then that's the helpful thing for you. Like I know Justin has kids, or I know that whatever. That helps you with your stress level, because you don't want to be stressed. And the less stress you have, the less stress the buyer and the seller will have. Helpful? Okay, so in all of this, I think inspection reply, clear title, loan underwriting funded. Okay, other escrow. Oh, do you want to, before I go further, do you guys want to take a break? It's 11.
Yes.
Yeah? All right, let's do 5 minutes.
What time will we be back?
So it's, let's say it's 11 o'clock, so 11:05.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
It's 11 o'clock.
How do I get this off of here? No.
Click stop share.
Click stop share.
What do you think? The whole.
No, actually, I want to keep that. I want to keep the share, but you see the bar up at the top. You're sharing your screen or stop share.
Oh, you'd have to go to full screen. So at the bottom,
Yeah.
it's in your view. Do you see the bottom left where it says normal view?
Yes.
So it's in normal view right now.
Okay.
Click that, it will go to full screen, but you'll block everybody else out, I think.
No, this is good. It's perfect. That went away. Thanks, Robert.
Right.
You're there. I didn't know that. You're like an evil spy.
I'm getting ready for my class tomorrow, so.
You trying to get some tips?
Yep. Making notes.
Oh boy, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, hi guys, welcome back. So where we left off was in lending. So I'm just gonna kind of go through this flow chart here and just let you know that we've gone through underwriting and all of that stuff, and it's day 19, and we know, because we've been communicating, that that the loan is good and we could remove our loan contingency. That's probably the last contingency you want to remove, because that all the way protects your buyer. Okay, so anything wrong, anything happening that was unforeseen or anything like that, your loan contingency is the last deal of responsibility. After that, it's kind of free and clear, and it's just tightening up all the loose ends. All right, so that's done. We remove that contingency. Everybody's clapping. Everybody's breathing a sigh of relief. And then escrow does their thing. They receive funds from the lender. They record, and the deal is closed. Okay. I know I went through that quickly, but there's really nothing more to say that, except for between the 21 days and, let's say, the last few days before close, before they get the keys or before your seller gets their money, for some reason, everybody's been chill all along the way. Did our inspections, we got what we needed, we didn't get what we needed, okay, we love the house, and so on. Okay, we really want to sell the house, $2,000, okay, what? We're chill, everything's good. But for some reason, those last 3 days before close are like, everybody decides that they're tense. Don't ask me why, but it's that. Is it because now lending's not closing on time, or because they needed another document, they didn't get it, or lender forgot to ask for it, or escrow forgot to ask lender for information? For some reason behind the scenes, unbeknownst to you, and no fault of your buyer or seller, something's going on in that back end that could delay close. So once again, communicating with escrow, communicating with lenders, communicating with your people are the most important thing. If lending's asked for anything, hey guys, did you get lending everything they needed? All of that good stuff. So it comes down to the lender and the escrow that close the deal, and where there could be a little bit of a delay. So communication is key on that. And then you have to do your you have to do your verification of property within a 3-day time frame, I think it is, if Robert's listening. And that is, you'll walk the property again if there were repairs that had to be made. Make sure they were done. If there were no repairs, and basically you just want to make sure there were no holes in the walls, or they didn't take out fixtures or whatever that are supposed to be there. You just want to make sure the property is in the condition that the buyers bought it, or repairs have been done. If repairs haven't been done, go ahead and ask for, hey, you didn't do these, light switches. Are you going to get these done? Okay. Depending on the severity, you might want to do another VP to make sure. Fair enough. And then you'll find out that loan's been funded, it's been recorded, and you're good to go. You're closed. I want to be sure I'm going to tell you the right thing, because the most important thing now is you want your money. You want to get paid. You worked your tail off. Your seller wants to know where their money is, and all that stuff. So at that point, 5.5 years in the business, you want to call escrow every 5 minutes and say, where's my money? Are we done yet? Can I come pick up the check? Nancy will say no. Just be okay to know that once it's funded, recorded, escrow sends checks, disbursements out to Keller Williams, to sellers, and all that good stuff. So it's probably about a 2-day wait. I would say for your sanity, give it a 2-day wait, okay? Because the checks have to be processed. Sometimes they just write a full check to Keller Williams, and then Nancy has to disperse it all. Check has to clear, then she does the disbursement. Way back in the beginning of once you get into escrow, Drew or Nancy will go ahead and send you a commission disbursement report for your approval, which states this is the purchase price. This is how much the buyer is due. This is how much the seller is due. This is how much your transaction coordinator that you're always going to have. Your transaction coordinator gets paid. I use Dana. I pay $400 a month, and I would pay $1,000 a month. $400 transaction, I'd pay $1,000. You could, if you're great, amazing with contracts, and that's your thing, and you've used TC. And I don't know what the rules are if you can do your own TC work. I'm not sure. But anyway, that commission disbursement form will be sent out, so you know when that closes exactly how much money you're going to get paid. Okay, and what's due to you, what's due to Keller Williams, and what's due to your sellers. So we got our check. We're happy. We're going to go shopping, and we're going to get our hair done, and we're going to get our nails done, and we're going to buy that purse or a pair of shoes that we've been longing to get. Okay, we could do that, and that's a good thing, but I would limit it to half of what you had been desiring to buy. Keep that money, put it back in your business, save it, pay your bill, whatever you need to do, pay your taxes. Don't forget to take out money for your taxes. But anyway, I'm excited. You got paid. That's great. Now, what do we do from here? Do we have any questions on any of that closed stuff? Nope, we're good? Okay. So what have we been doing? You do, Madison? Or are you excited you got paid just now? Okay. What we're going to do from the beginning all the way to the end is remind your clients that they're buyers. Oh, and then I'll go on the sell side. I'll be brief on the sell side because as Emily would say, you don't have that much to do, so make sure we do it. Just letting you know, all along the way, while you're dealing with your clients, whoever they may be, you're going to let them know that you're going to ask them for referrals of people they know that might be in the market to buy or sell or invest in real estate. Okay, parents, church people, people at school, anything. And at the end, you're going to ask them again, final. There's a survey in here that's pretty cool. Did I do a good job? Did I meet my expectations? Was I a good listener? Did I find you the property that you were looking for? What did I do well? What can I improve on? All of those good things. And with that, then you'll ask for that final referral, which I think is really important. I didn't do in the beginning because I was just so excited. I made a sale. I just couldn't even speak. But as you get into it, know that that's really an important part of I don't know, the relationship, so to speak. And here's really good things. I don't do this, and I'm really glad I'm teaching this class today, because along the way, even when you're in escrow, and even, wherever it is in the transaction, make sure that these people now are in your command database, and you start a smart plan. Put them about their neighborhood. Put them about, spring cleaning, what to do with your Christmas tree. Put them on that list. So now they're your friend. They're a new plumber that you found or anything. You're now their resource, and they see you all the time. You're not just the one on the phone going to, push their house along. Now you're their real estate resource. And they tell their friends, got a great realtor. You never know what she told me. Lavender's the new color this year. Something like that. Get them in your database. Remind them of who you are all the time. Get really comfortable with that. Now I'm going to backtrack in the beginning of your due diligence to your fiduciary responsibility to your sellers. So we're going to start that flow chart again. And for your sellers, you've negotiated the deal. You accepted some offers. You got 7 offers. Let's go off of 2. This one had better terms. This one has a better price. You really, as Emily said, you really communicated with that agent. Seems like that would be a smooth transaction, because that's your goal. A smooth transaction, get buyers and sellers what they need. Not about you. Anyway, so we've negotiated our price, we've accepted, and our terms, we accepted this offer, and we're in escrow. Okay, you'll send, I guess I should have said that. So after the deal is accepted, you want to immediately send that to your transaction coordinator, get all that going for you, so she can start the TC work. Communicate with your buyer, your seller. Hi, they introduce themselves. Hi, I will be assisting Deborah Brown throughout the transaction. All right, with disclosures, all your contract needs. Okay, so we're there. Dana, she introduced herself, and here we go. So from our sellers now have submitted all their TDS, their SPQ. Those are all their disclosures, what they know about the property, and they wait. And you wait with them. You communicate with the agent along the way, but basically you wait for the request for repairs, if there is going to be one. And then your job is to help negotiate that and bring that to an agreeable circumstance. Okay, with your seller. I tell you, we oftentimes want to tell our clients what they should do, but in this circumstance, I present and say, hey, this is what they're asking for. 9 out of 10 times, sellers know what they want to do, but they'll say, what would you do? Because that could go back and forth a couple of times. It doesn't have to be settled on in the first go around. Because remember, I decided I was going to do A, B, and C from the seller, but I decided I don't want to do D, E, and F. Okay, buyer comes back and says, nope, I definitely want F done. And so, that could go back and forth a couple of times. Anyway, long and the short of that, we've come to an agreement on that. And now we wait again. We wait again, and we wait to see that the loan the loan contingency is removed. And before that, the big deal is the appraisal, especially in this market. We're going to do an appraisal. The bank the buyer's loan officer goes ahead and requests an appraisal. So you meet the appraiser out there. You always meet the appraiser out there. And as Emily said, as we heard in the prior class, you're going to bring your comps. If it's like 50,000 over asking, even if it's at asking, you're going to bring your comps. You're going to bring what's pending. You're going to bring everything, you know, every upgrade that's been done to the property. You're going to bring every single thing you know of why you believe that this appraiser should say that, okay, the bank is going to agree to lend on this property at this price. Fair enough? Was that too fast? I forgot that step in there from before the loan. Okay, because the loan won't be approved and that contingency can't be removed if there is an appraisal contingency and that appraisal hasn't happened yet. Emily says she does a rush on appraisals. I've never done that before. I might start doing that now. Okay, and then after that, you find out that you've communicated all along with escrow. Hey, how's it going? Are we going to close on time? You're going to communicate with your people. Hey, it's going to close on time. Do they need, you know, any kind of resource for moving or for anything? You're their go-to. Okay. And then we close and then we make money. I left you in the lurch. Everybody's like looking at me. Okay. How are we doing?
I like how fast you just closed this one. You make money. with the buyers takes a heck of a time.
You know what? If I presented it anyway, that's really the truth.
Which was that easy.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? The most important thing with selling your property is making sure that your client knows that the most they'll get out of their home is how they present it. You know, how it's presented out there from the very get-go. It needs to smell good. It needs to look good. Do you want to stage it? Do you want to remove all personal items? Do you just want to make somebody walk in their house at the first walk into the door and go, wow, I'm home? Or if it's an investment property, hey, great, wow, I don't have to do much around here, or wow, I got to do a lot, or whatever. So what you're going to present in the beginning with your photos, with what the property looks like, what it smells like, the curb appeal, those are the most important things the seller has to do in the beginning. That's where the hard work is. Pricing it right, that's where the hard work is. After that, the seller really has an easy job. Their work is all in the beginning. That's my takeaway on that. Any questions? Anything on that? Good. All right. So here's the deal. We've closed. We've done some really cool things. Everybody's happy, and you want to make sure, along with your request for asking for referrals, that you let your sellers know how you appreciate their business. So you're going to bring a little parting gift at closing day. For buyers and sellers, I usually bring a bottle of champagne for sellers. If I've helped them with the purchase of their new home, then you close on that, you buy them a housewarming gift for that. If they're moving out of state, think outside of the box, bring them something they'll remember, maybe some, travel tags or something that they have and they'll remember, and definitely a handwritten note. Get in the mood and the mindset to do more personal handwritten things. People are really impressed these days with more personal contact because we don't have it. It's like, I don't know how you guys feel about your Ignite friends, but when I took Ignite twice in the beginning of my career, and I am still friends with half of the people in my classes because we bonded so much. You want to bond with your clients exactly the same way, and that's one-on-one with personal, in my opinion. with a personal touch. And don't forget to keep your people on a 33 touch, or that would be the ultimate. If you found out their kids' birthdays or when their anniversary was or anything, make sure you put that information in command so you can do your follow-ups, throughout the years, so you get your referrals. Because you don't want to be a one and done. You really want to get your referrals. You want to, create momentum in your business that way. Tokens of appreciation. I'm reading off the notes right now. Housewarming parties, Bridget does. Client parties. I haven't done them yet. I find them that I think I'd be a little intimidated. Don't ask me why. I haven't done them yet. That's on my bucket list to do. I don't know. I think we're in good shape. I think we're in good shape as far as where we're at with the class. Give me feedback. Give me questions. Are you any smarter now, or did I just waste an hour and a half of your time? Tell me the story.
It definitely feels demythologized now. Like prior to this morning, the whole flow chart of what happens between making the offer and closing escrow was mysterious to me, and now I have a better picture for it.
Okay. And once again, these are the times to use your coach. I'm always here. You have my email address. I'll definitely put that in the chat again. We are all here. Every agent in this office is willing to help. Mark Miller and Robert are really instrumental in making sure that we're doing things right. So, along the way, if you get stuck, and you will, just either take a hold on of this or give us a call or send us an email, and everybody's out there willing to help. Madison, you have any questions, hon?
No questions.
Okay.
I have a question. What are some things that you've purchased as a thank you gift or a housewarming gift for your buyer clients?
Okay. In the beginning, for my buyer clients, in the beginning, I wanted to tell you a story about that, by the way. In the beginning, I wasn't making very much money. Actually, I had a first really, funny first year and a half. Everything came from referral. I moved downtown, and a big agent of this building that I live in, and I live in a high rise, 22 stories. She moved to Walnut Creek up north, and she called me very early on. She referred me to Keller Williams from up there. And then she called me very early on and said, hey, do you want to do a bunch of referrals your first year in business? And I'm like, yes. Wow, did I stumble through all of that? Anyway, so I did make, I was making a few transactions at that time within my first year, but let's say you're not. And let's say money is tight. A basket of cleaning supplies.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
It could be as simple as that. Don't forget your card, don't forget your note card, and a basket of cleaning supplies, a bottle of champagne. If you found out along the way, I don't know, that, there's a newborn baby, you can stick something cute in there, something like that. It does not have to be expensive.
I imagine that if you listen closely to when they're first visiting the property, talking about what they want to put where, maybe thinking of one of those things.
Right. I had a client just recently closed in Mission Hills. They came from a small little apartment into a big house, and she had mentioned, we were touring one property, and there were cubbies, on the wall for the toys and books and stuff. And she goes, wow, that's a great idea. I gave her a Pottery Barn kids gift card, and said, here's helping for your cubbies or something like that.
Go Bears.
Yeah. Go Bears.
Deborah, did you say stick the newborn baby in the basket?
I did, actually. You heard me say that?
Yes.
Did they call you?
Yes.
Seeking clarity.
I have now purchased Cutco knives. People love them.
Me first to take some time.
They have a great program. Eric, I don't know if any of you have listened to his program. I can send you information from him. They do a gorgeous, wait, I'll be right back. I'll show you. Comes in a pretty box. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cutco knives. I was not. Eric is usually on our weekly meetings. He's got great energy and a cool guy. Great salesman, by the way. Just listening to him is fun. So it comes like this with a cute red ribbon.
Yeah, he's a
And
knife guy. He sent me one too.
did he send you one? I love them. There's all kinds, but the most
It's very
important,
sharp. It's very sharp.
it's very sharp. I don't know if you can see it. His name and company name is engraved, and it says Sharp Retention, Eric Gilman, with his phone number. So if you buy them, it'll say Realtor for Life or anything you want to put on there, your name and your phone number. As he says, a bottle of wine comes and goes, but these knives are lifetime, and they'll be in your kitchen. And the way he says it, there's knives and forks and, all kinds of good things. And so you're having company and you're having a dinner party and you're doing your thing. Wow, that's a cool knife. Yeah, my realtor, gave it to me.
You sure everybody's in the good mood?
Everybody's in a good mood. Yeah, that's right. Because they are sharp, I gotta say. So,
I get both wine and knife in the same gift.
oh boy. There you go. So those are the things that I buy for my people. One thing I want to tell you, which is in the notes, it says when you're doing a transaction, make sure that everybody is in your database, the selling agent. If you're on the buy side, the selling agent, maybe the client, the seller. You don't want to, you want to be careful about that. But I had a really difficult transaction in La Jolla, and my seller lived in Colorado. The two gentlemen and a sister was selling mom's house. She passed away. It was just a very sensitive transaction. The seller's agent was vacationing during a critical time. I was annoyed half the time, and I showed it. But we got the deal done in the end, and I brought over a bottle of sake, and because I know they love Japanese food, a bottle of sake and a card to the sellers that day when we got the keys, thanking them for their patience. So, you'll feel it out. You just want to leave everybody, no matter how difficult the transaction was or it was not, you want to leave everybody with a great impression of who you are and the work that you've done. Because you never know, you can get a referral from the other side.
When I bought my first property, I was in Florida. The agent, she gave us cast iron pots and pans. Was so heavy to pick up one of them.
That's interesting.
I say you said don't wash them, just just clean them with the
They
oil and
last
stuff.
forever. I have one my mom gave me probably back in 1980. I still have it and I still use it.
Good
Yeah.
Lord, don't hit anybody with those.
Yeah, don't hit anybody with them. I think I'm done for the most part. Oh, as far as the referrals too, I know that it's always good to keep in mind if you've had a really great experience with an agent, tell them about Keller Williams. Ask them how they're doing over there, so try to get them on your downline for so you can make some passive income. And also from a social worker standpoint, if they could have a happier career being at Keller Williams, wouldn't that be nice that you are able to be instrumental in that? Okay. And then turn them on to Stephen and say, or Sarah.
Sneak up.
I think tomorrow is last class. Broca Bob, are you still eavesdropping?
I sure be.
Okay. Do you want to tell everybody about last class?
Yeah, you want to stop sharing your screen?
I can witty. Okay, stop sharing. Yes.
So lucky you guys. You guys have had some great instructors, and you get to finish up the last class with me. I hope you can all make it. I actually am doing something off topic from. I'm going to cover a little bit of the materials that we have in the booklet, but I was looking through it today, and I'm like, it's missing a lot of meat to it. So we will go through the daily 10-4 and talk about command a little bit, but we're gonna talk about the real estate funnel for your leads and the MREA energy plan. But I'm really going to spend some time on business development from a coaching perspective and how you put a good business plan together that you'll be working on with your coaches. I have a template I'll share that's kind of a good template for a new agent or any agent that actually, whether you're new, seasoned, mid-level, whatever. But then I'm going to go a little bit of the DISC, the DISC, and you've heard me talk about that. The DISC is the behavior profile, and we all have different behaviors. We all look at the world a little bit differently, and that's okay. And what I've done is I've come up with 70 plus lead generation ideas that fits your behavior, because what's good for Aaron might not be good for Bernardo, because your brains work differently. You think differently. You approach life differently. And nothing is right or wrong. It's just how we interpret and have our external reality from the internal. So there are 70 ideas to choose from. Doesn't mean you're going to do all of them, but you're going to pick, hey, and I'll talk a little bit about the DISC. And I'm teaching a class and it's coming up. You will need to save the date if you want me to go extensively on February 22nd from 1 to 2:30. And I am a behavior specialist, not only your broker, but I understand the human brain, how it's wired. I'll share a little bit. I had a brain injury 5 years ago, and that led me on a journey as I rehabilitated, to understand how to get those neural connections and recreate them. So I studied the brain extensively, not only through that, but with Keller Williams. And if you've never taken a DISC assessment, and if you want to know what your behavior profile is for that class, it's a prerequisite to take a DISC assessment. And Tony Robbins has a great DISC assessment that's free. It's online. So just Google Tony Robbins DISC, DISC. And all you got to do is put in your email address. It's about 10 to 15-minute assessment. Just follow the directions on it and answer it for business or work. Don't answer it for personal. And then bring that to the class, and you'll kind of know where you rank. That's it.
I want to add something about that DISC assessment, as Robert would tell you. And when you learn, I'm such a high I. I think I went off the charts in the I. But I got a client early on that was a very high C, and not taking that class with Robert like 2 times or 3 times. I don't know how many times. I think I've taken it every time you give it. I wouldn't have known how to communicate with him. Early on, I learned that this was not a guy that wanted to text. So he wanted everything either written out or long conversations, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He was a retired air traffic controller for the military. So that'll let you know where both of us are on that spectrum. But I did communicate with him. Let me text you to prepare you for our conversation. And he loved that. So that DISC assessment really does help you navigate your way through difficult conversations for you.
I'm excited. Cool.
We won't cover the DISC, but it will help to know. And I pretty much know what disc you already are just by seeing you on here and hearing the words you speak and how you react. But it's, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just I've been coaching since 2007. And if you know what behavior you are and you know what's the best way to lead generate for you, because if you're a high S, and that's a like systematized safety, security, more methodical thinker. If I told you to get on the phone and call 20 to 500 FSBOs a day, you'd be on the fetal position in the floor within 10 minutes because it's really not your behavior. Your behavior is much more about interpersonal relationships and really close bonding with people. So you'll hear a lot of different ways to lead generate, but you got to pick the one that works well for your behavior. Again, no behavior is right or wrong. All right, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thank all of you. I had fun. I hope you did. I was trying to put a mustache on or something, but I couldn't find it. Anyway, good luck to every one of you and do great things.
Thanks, David. Send that email if you had a chance.
I certainly will.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay. Robert, you there? Why are you laughing?
We're going to see if you're in for all.
I know. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. I can't find it. That's probably why nobody's done it.
Do you have an end button?
Oh, wait a minute. I have. No, I have a leave button.
Do the leave then. Okay.
All right. How'd I do?
Great. Fantastic.
No, come on, tell me.
No, you did. You did great.
Oh,
Doing a
thank
great job.
Okay. Bye, sweetheart.